Welcome back into the Rowdy Studio. I'm Steven Levine. This is Tom Voort, and it is time to go to the Monster Mile, one of my favorite tracks. I know it's one of your favorite tracks, and a very unique track on the NASCAR circuit. Very
1 mile of high banked concrete, baby.
Exactly.
And it's going to be rough out there. You know, people have been complaining, not enough wrecks.
Oh,
right?
Well, they'll have plenty at Dover.
Well, you know, they might not, but honestly, you got to be aggressive here. That's one of the things. You look at the banking of this track, 24 degrees in the corners, 9 degrees in the straight. You're going very, very fast. And a lot of tracks, you can overdrive the corner, which is you go in there too deep, you don't get off the gas soon enough. Well, at Dover, your instinct is probably to get off the gas before you really have to. You can be very aggressive in these corners. It's hard to overdrive these corners. I'm sure you could do it. If you never took your foot off the gas, I'm sure you could do it. But it's going to be the place where drivers can be aggressive with the throttle, out of the gas, burp it, burp the throttle, back in the gas, just very aggressive.
Burp it?
Burp it.
But this is also a track that really takes its toll on drivers. It's probably the most physically taxing of all the tracks. Remember, it's concrete, so the rubber just sort of sits on top there.
It builds up.
A lot of wheel chatter.
Tires bouncing like basketballs.
You got to focus really intently the entire time because you have to be or can be so aggressive on this track. So it's actually very difficult on the drivers, both mentally and physically, almost more so than any other place we go.
Well, when you think about this place, you also sometimes think of it as a big Bristol. But if you compare this track to the Bristol that we used to have, the one with the progressive banking that they're taking away, this track doesn't have that much room from top to bottom. I mean, you've got a groove on the bottom and maybe a half a groove to a second groove by the end of the race. That's about it. So you're going to have to be aggressive. The cars are going to be close together. They're going to be going extremely fast, and it's 400 grueling miles, and some guys can handle that, and some guys still don't have it figured out.
And it's also one of those tracks where one mistake by one driver can escalate. I mean, we talk about the big one at Talladega. You can get some pretty big ones at Dover. That banking sort of slides everything down towards whoever's on the bottom, whoever's in the groove.
And that front stretch is pretty narrow. I mean, when you got a wall defining the boundary between pit road and the racetrack, a lot of places you got a bunch of grass. No, not at Dover. You got a wall sitting there and you're coming down a corridor.
Now, when we talk about drivers, obviously Jimmie Johnson is head and shoulders above everybody else. 6 wins here, more than anybody else, I believe. Even more than any inactive driver. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, Petty's got quite a few wins.
I'd have to double check Petty, but 6 wins is pretty stout. So Jimmie Johnson's clearly the favorite at this track, but he's not my pick.
Well, I think Jimmy's head and shoulders. You have to look at the Roush cars, all 3 of them. Greg Biffle, 2 wins here. Matt Kenseth, 2 wins here, including this race last year. And Carl Edwards has a win here and has run well here a bunch of times. Has the best finishing average.
Yeah, his average is amazing.
So he's very consistent here. And then I think you have to look at Kyle Busch in that second tier also, because he has 2 wins here. He's very good on the concrete at Bristol. He's very good on this concrete. We've seen him dominate Nationwide Series races, seen him dominate truck races here. So he could be a winner too. So I like those 4 guys, and then maybe a tier below that, I might put a Casey Kane, who's run well here in the past.
One
and
guy
I might put a Martin Truex
I would
Jr.
like you to consider is Martin Truex Jr. His lone NASCAR Sprint Cup victory came at this track, and of course he grew up very close to this track, considers it his home track, and of course he's having a breakthrough season, so past stats are not necessarily applicable to present prognostication.
Well, whatever that means, he looks a lot this year like he looked the year when he won the race at Dover, although probably more consistent this year than he's ever been in his career. So Truex is a good pick. Who do you have, though?
Well, I'm going with Matt Kenseth. Finished 1st and 5th at this racetrack last season. Is the defending winner of this race. He's 2nd in points. He's finished all but 1 lap this season. He's won the Daytona 500, of course, this season. He's having a great year. I'm going with Matt Kenseth.
I tell you what, I like Kyle Busch. I really was impressed with the way Joe Gibbs Racing turned from what to me was not a very good performance in the All-Star race, not very good cars in the All-Star race. They came back in the 600 and had a great night, and I think Kyle Busch is going to be the man to beat here.
All right. Well, there you go. Tom Voort, I'm Steven Levine. Thanks for watching.